Georgia does not share a border with Iran, but is coming under scrutiny are the ties between Tbilisi's pro-Moscow government and the Islamic Republic. Earlier this month, Georgia's State Security Service is launching an investigation into claims Tehran has been working hard to infiltrate Georgia's Shiite minorities, in particular in the Kvemo-Kartli region that borders Azerbaijan and also Armenia. This follows a report by the Washington think tank, the Hudson Institute, that concluded that Tbilisi is facilitating Iranian penetration. Reacting to the probe into Iranian meddling, South Carolina Republican Congressman Joe Wilson commented, the anti-American Georgia Dream Party's scared to death Americans will learn that it is in cahoots with the Iranian regime, so they're doing everything they can to silence experts, highlighting this fact to defeat Iran, defeat Georgia Dream. Now, she's been called in for questioning by Georgian authorities for commenting on this very topic. It's time for our Spotlight segment. Former Georgian Defense Minister Khidasheli today heads the Georgian advocacy group Civic Idea. Thanks for being with us here on France.
Thank you for having me here.
So you were on a private television channel and you were commenting this report by the Hudson Institute, and that landed you in a bit of hot water?
Yes, unfortunately, that's the situation in today's Georgia. This is the country which has officially still candidate status for the membership to the European Union and was an aspirant country for NATO, one of the most advanced nations, ended up in 2026 when people are called by security forces for things like, for example, 3 days ago, an ombudsman, former ombudsman of Georgia, ombudsman is a human rights defender, as you know, the official government representative for the human rights of the people, was called for questioning by the same security forces because he had a meeting with the OSCE rapporteur in Georgia. I was called, being a former Minister of Defense, whose natural job is to comment on security and defense issues, because I've commented on security issues raised by the fact that we have small but still very troubling demonstrations on the streets of Georgia, in certain parts of Georgia, very close to the capital city, by the people holding supreme leaders' pictures and saying that, and screaming death to America, death to Israel, and screaming that Khomeini's job will continue. And security forces felt it important to question me to understand whose order I was working on.
That's what they asked
when
you.
Making the comments. Yes, because we have, since two years now, we have the Russia-style foreign agents law in the country that brought massive demonstrations in Georgia, actually, over the 2 years, every day, basically, that outlaws any support from international organizations or private donors or foreign democracies, being it European Union, again, whose candidate country we are to become members, supporting Georgian civil society or Georgian media. And the language of the law reads in a way that anything, literally anything, can qualify as a violation of the law, and you face criminal sentence starting from 6 years of jail time. And this anything means, for you to understand how far they went to, for example, I'm attending right now, I'm in Paris because I'm attending defense conference, right? And in order to travel to Paris, for people like me who work for non-profits and who are not in business, obviously, we always seek the donors' funding to pay for the tickets, to pay for the hotel, to be present in these important events. That is already under the Georgian law. That might raise questions. Who supported my trip here? How did I end up in Paris? Why, and what kind of instructions I've got from the foreign countries to be here.
Let's break this up into two here, because there's the fact that you used to be in politics. You were from a political party that once upon a time was aligned with Georgian Dream, but then split off.
We were in coalition, yes.
A decade ago, you split off.
Exactly, in 2016.
And then there's the issue at hand about these accusations of Georgia working as a conduit for Iran. that questioning, how much of it is about you personally and how much of it is about Iran?
It's everything together. And also, don't forget, even more important aspect, how much it is about Russia. Because everything Georgian government does, prosecuting opponents, making statements, supporting those one or another action at international level, it's all guided by one question: what the Moscow will think about it. Whether they will like this action or they dislike, whether they will react positively or negatively. Unfortunately, the major problem Georgian government has today is that, particularly when it comes to the foreign policy, all its actions, all its decisions are guided by answer to this one question: what will Kremlin think about it? And that's where we are. So.
And now they've started this investigation, though.
Yes.
And is that Republican congressman correct in saying they're scared of the U.S. and that's why they started the investigation?
I don't think they are. Well, yes, they are scared of not only U.S. but but European Union as well as NATO. All the countries, they are scared in a way that obviously, regardless of the fact that the government says that they don't care, regardless of the fact that the government has this very Russian-type sovereignty formula that, like, you live in a vacuum and nothing happens outside, and the whole world just goes around you and thinks how to make trouble for you. Regardless of that, of course they care. Of course they care because there are sanctions against them, because there are visa travel bans and so on and so forth. And most of them have their wealth out here in the city included. And they are afraid that there might be moments when, because of the torture accusations against them, because of the widespread violation of human rights or many other reasons, their property might fall under the sanctions. So because of that, they of course care about all those issues. But the problem with this particular investigation was that instead of actually going after the troubles and problems that were listed and well documented in the report,
the Hudson Institute.
They've decided to go against the people like me, like one Georgian co-author of the report,
it's only
and
been 2
couple
weeks,
of
though,
others.
since they announced they were opening this investigation into what was happening.
It was almost a little bit more than 2 weeks.
Among the issues that the report brought up was this Al Mustafa University.
Yes.
It's a under sanctions university. It's under sanctions by the United States and Canada. And they were irked because you said it's not really a university.
Yes, it's not really a university because, in Georgia. Of course, it's a university in Iran, but the Georgian branch of it that we have does not have a license to work as a university. It's not licensed, its programs are not accredited, no legal requirements for qualifying as a university are met. And because of that, I refuse to call it university, but whatever it is, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, the purpose they serve, by essence, qualifies the educational purpose, qualifies the same purpose as the university does. And it can be perfectly used as a tool for recruitment. I'm not saying it is recruiting for terrorism because I'm a lawyer by profession, and whatever I say, I need to have a very strong proof of it. But judging from the experience of this university, judging from the reasons why it is sanctioned in several countries, and why, for example, the German security forces went after it's exactly the similar branch in Germany, was the problem with the extremism, the problem with the recruitment for the terrorist purposes.
Georgia, a mainly Christian country, but it does have, again, this
very
Shia,
significant
Muslim minority in the southeast of the country. How does that minority feel about that?
We have both. We have Sunni and Shia minorities. We have the largest Muslim minority in Georgia is Azerbaijani minority. How do they feel about it? I think that most of the Georgian Muslims are genuinely holding the same spirit, same idea for their country, like all of us. And there is no distinction. We do not make that distinction by religion or by ethnicity. The only problem is that in the times when, like it is right now in Georgia, when government does not really pay attention to the integration policies, when government does basically nothing for bringing all the communities to the board, but mostly works for the separation of the society, for building on the hatred in a society for its own benefits. I don't really understand why they are doing it, but that's what they are doing. Obviously, people are searching for the ways to get the education, to get the access to development, and the only available opportunity they get, if the only available opportunity they get is this so-called university, they go for it. And because of that, we've got quite a significant number of graduates already from there. Again, I don't claim that all of them are necessarily into the extremist ideology, definitely not, because then we would have feel it much stronger than we do. But the fact that after the war started in Middle East, in our neighborhood, these people showed up in the very center of the city, in front of the Iranian embassy, holding the pictures of Ali Khamenei with all those, famous phrases being shouted. It is scary, and this is something that security services should be interested in and investigating. They are not doing it. We've put the alarm there, and what they did, they started investigation against us rather than investigating what's going on in a country and if there is any threat to the society. And I think this is the biggest problem. And what Congressman Wilson was saying is exactly that, because if you are a strategic partner to the United States, that we've been for all these years, and one of the most supported country out there in the world by the United States in terms of security, then you don't behave like my government behaves these days.
The government, you talked about it being always aware of what Moscow wants, being afraid also of U.S. sanctions. It's afraid of, which one is it afraid more of? The wrath of Moscow or the wrath of Washington?
Actually, what they're afraid most is losing the power. Because unfortunately, the way it works in that parts of the world is either you're in power or in jail, right? So that's what they are afraid the most. Whomever will keep them in power will be their main ally. Today, the only way of life as it continues, they see for them keeping in power is Moscow way. That's why they stick with Moscow. They stick with the policies that we have in Moscow, the laws they do in Duma. If you look at the legislative process in Georgia and Parliament, it goes like one by one, exactly like Russia started fighting the opposition, fighting the civil society, fighting independent media, how they kicked everybody out from the country. That's exactly what my government does. If tomorrow they will see that there is more hope in something else, then they shift. This is kind of government that does not have morals, does not have values. They do not have principles. It's all about keeping in power, earning as much money as possible as long as they are in power, and staying out of prison once they are not in power. Whatever serves this goal works for them. And today, that's Moscow.
Tina Khidasheli, attending the Paris Defense and Strategy Forum. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's a